The amount of joy it brings me to finally have some football to talk about is amazing. But what makes it even better is to talk about players that have shined to start Cowboys camp so far. We've been through a few practices and it's not quite time to crown anyone a superstar yet. But there have been a few guys that have stood out and we're going to talk about them in today's video. So let's not waste any time. One guy so far in camp that I was somewhat shocked to see making plays every single day is 7th round pick Jalen Brooks. And I'm not shocked because I think he's a bad player. We just did not see a whole lot of him in college at South Carolina, where he caught just 58 total passes, 33 of those as a second-year senior. So I just didn't know what to expect from him coming into camp. But so far, that is a name I've been hearing a lot. And based on the clips, it looks like he's in the right spot. He's been making contested grabs, routing guys up in one-on-one drills, and overall has had a really nice camp. Based on what I've been seeing on Twitter, or X, so far in camp, I've heard his name more than other guys he's competing with like Simi Fehoko or Jalen Cropper, which is a really good thing for him. I think he's caught the attention of a bunch of people throughout social media, the coaching staff, and players. But we know how these camps work. There's always a guy that shows up early and impresses everybody. But they have to carry it throughout training camp and into the preseason. So for me personally, I'm most excited to see him in week 1 of the preseason, and let's see if he can carry that momentum until they cut down to the 53. But a guy that doesn't have to worry about having a spot in that wide receiver room is Brandon Cooks, another guy that has thoroughly impressed at Cowboys camp. I know that we've talked endlessly about Brandon Cooks on this channel and what he's bringing to the Cowboys offense in 2023, but it cannot be stated enough how much of an impact I'm expecting him to make. Throughout the first week and a half of camp, Cooks has shown up every single day, making great grabs, showing his run after catch ability, and scoring on the Cowboys defensive backs at will. Deep passes, corner catches, he's done it all right so far. The precise routes and the chemistry with Dak Prescott are already there, and just his overall professionalism has been awesome to see for this team. Every time that I see a clip on my timeline, it's a Brandon Cooks touchdown. Hold on, before we go to the next player, only 25% of you that watched my last video were subscribed. Still, there are 75% of you that aren't subscribed to the Double Move channel. So join the family and let's hit 25,000 before the season starts. Now, let's continue with the video. I promise we're not going to talk about him too long in this video, but another guy that I cannot go without mentioning this Cowboys training camp is none other than Micah Parsons. By now, if you don't know that Micah is the best player at Cowboys camp, it's because you haven't been paying attention. The dude threw Tyron Smith to the ground like a little kid, and he's in the backfield just about every single offensive snap. They're going to have to take the dude off the field if they want to get anything done on the offensive side of the ball. So from now until the end of the year, I'm on the Micah Parsons for Defensive Player of the Year campaign. So I couldn't really make a top performers list without adding him on here. Now let's get into the honorable mentions. The first one goes to Dak Prescott. In the Cowboys' second padded practice, Dak lit up the defense. And I believe that Law Nation sent out a tweet that said Dak scored on them 12 times throughout the day. There have been a number of nice passes. He's been making some tight window throws, rolling out, finding Lamb, Cooks, and Gallup. He's even been running the ball a little bit more, but we'll have to see if all of that continues. I think he's had a great camp so far. I really hope that we do see Dak for at least a series or two during the preseason. Maybe that's my selfishness trying to get some real NFL football, because really I just need it to hurry up. Our next honorable mention is Duece Vaughn, and while there's some other veterans that I could talk about, let's talk about a guy that I think everyone is excited for in 2023, the Cowboys' 6th round pick. So far in camp, he hasn't quite shown out in the way of really big plays every single practice, and that might come from fewer opportunities. You have guys like Malik Davis, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, so Vaughn is getting reps in a crowded running back room. You add to the fact that you can't tackle to the ground in training camp, that means it's hard to get a good feel on how these running backs are looking until we see them in real game time action. But nevertheless, Duece has looked fast and explosive in the videos I've seen surfacing around camp. He's made some pretty sweet moves. We've seen him get some opportunities out of the backfield catching the ball, and to me, he looks like a guy that could be a contributor this season. Now for his punt and kick return abilities. I have seen him muff a couple of punts, so I don't necessarily think that job's going to be his next year, but it is probably going to go to the guy we're about to talk about next, Cavante Turpin. Turpin did miss a couple of practices to be there for the birth of his daughter, but ever since he's been back, I've been seeing him get more and more opportunities as a pass catcher on the Cowboys offense, which was something that I talked about religiously this offseason. Getting him and his speed involved in the offense. So far, he's made a couple of nice plays, and the explosiveness we saw in returns last year could be a factor if Mike McCarthy can carve out a role for him in 2023. Overall, I think he has turned some heads, not just in the return game, but offensively as well. I say in the preseason, get that man some offensive touches. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I love you all.